My name is Anna, and 2 years ago, my husband Max and I made a life-changing decision. We left the hustle and bustle of the city behind and moved to a small, picturesque village nestled in the countryside. The air was fresh, the river sparkled under the sun, and the forest nearby was a haven of tranquility. It was the perfect place to start a family, and we couldn't wait to build our future here. The village was everything we had dreamed of. The people were warm and welcoming, and the pace of life was slow and peaceful. We quickly settled into our new home, a cozy cottage with a sprawling garden that Max loved tending to. It didn't take long for us to meet our neighbors, John and Lisa. They were around our age, and like us, they didn't have children yet. We hit it off immediately, bonding over shared interests and the simple joys of village life. We started spending a lot of time together. We'd go on picnics by the river, explore the forest for wild mushrooms, and have cozy dinners at each other's homes. Life felt idyllic, and I was grateful for the sense of community we had found. But as time went on, I began to notice subtle changes. John's job required him to travel frequently, sometimes for weeks or even months at a time. Lisa, left alone in their large house, started to feel the weight of his absence. She began asking Max for help with various tasks around her home, fixing a leaky faucet, repairing a fence, or helping her in the garden. At first, I didn't think much of it. Max has always been the kind of person who would drop everything to help someone in need. But soon, I couldn't ignore the growing unease in my gut. Lisa's behavior started to shift. She began dressing differently when Max was around, trading her casual house clothes for elegant dresses. She'd smile at him in a way that felt too familiar, too intimate. I tried to brush it off, telling myself I was overthinking. But the more I observed, the more I felt something was off. Max didn't seem to notice anything unusual at first. He thought he was just being a good neighbor, helping someone in need. But as the weeks went by, he started spending more and more time at Lisa's house. I'd wait for him to come home, wondering what could possibly be taking so long. When I asked him about it, he'd say, "I'm just helping her out. She's struggling with things around the house while John's away." I wanted to believe him, but my instincts told me otherwise. I started paying closer attention. Whenever Max went to Lisa's, I'd find excuses to drop by unexpectedly. Each time, Lisa would act perfectly normal, but I couldn't shake the feeling that there was something more going on. The way she looked at Max, it wasn't just friendly. There was a glint in her eyes that made my stomach churn. One evening, Max came home later than usual. When I asked him why, he said he'd been helping Lisa fix her car. I didn't say anything, but I didn't believe him. That night, I couldn't sleep. My mind was racing with thoughts of Max and Lisa, and I started having vivid dreams where she was trying to take him away from me. I'd wake up in a cold sweat, my heart pounding. I knew I had to confront Max, but I didn't know how to bring it up without sounding paranoid. Finally, one day, I saw them talking outside. They were standing too close, and Lisa was laughing in a way that felt too personal. My heart sank. I couldn't hold it in any longer. "What's going on?" I asked, my voice trembling. Lisa turned to me with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Oh, Anna, we were just talking about the garden," she said casually. I looked at Max, but he didn't say anything. He just looked guilty. That night, I poured my heart out to Max. "I don't like the way Lisa behaves around you," I said, "and I don't like how much time you're spending with her. It's making me uncomfortable." Max was quiet for a long time. Then he sighed and said, "I'm sorry, Anna. I didn't realize how much it was bothering you. I'll be more careful." From that day on, Max tried to distance himself from Lisa. He stopped going to her house as often, and I noticed that she started spending more time alone. For a while, things seemed to go back to normal. But even though Max had promised to be more mindful, I couldn't shake the unease that lingered in the back of my mind. Lisa didn't make it easy. One day, she showed up at our house with a cake. "Hi, Anna," she said sweetly. "I made this for you and Max. I hope you like it." I forced a smile and thanked her, but I couldn't ignore the way her eyes darted past me, searching for Max. "Is Max home?" she asked. "Yes, but he's busy right now," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. Lisa looked disappointed but quickly masked it with another smile. "Oh, okay. I'll leave you two to enjoy the cake. Let me know if you need anything." As soon as she left, I closed the door and let out a breath I didn't realize I'd been holding. That night, I told Max about Lisa's visit. He laughed it off, saying, "I think she's just being friendly. You don't have to worry." But I wasn't convinced. Lisa's smiles and her way of talking to Max didn't seem friendly to me. They felt calculated, like she was testing the boundaries of our relationship. The final straw came a few weeks later. I ran into Lisa at the local store, and she made a comment that sent chills down my spine. "You know, Anna," she said with a sly smile, "your husband is very helpful. I don't know what I'd do without him." I forced a polite smile, but her next words made my blood run cold. "He's more than just good, isn't he? You're very lucky to have him." I didn't like the way she said that. It felt like a veiled threat, a reminder that she was always lurking in the background, waiting for an opportunity to insert herself into our lives. Thankfully, things began to change when John returned from his travels. Lisa's behavior shifted almost overnight. She stopped asking for Max's help, and we saw less and less of her. It was as if John's presence had reined her in, and I felt a huge weight lift off my shoulders. Max and I started to reconnect. We spent more time together, working in the garden, going on walks, and talking about our future. I realized that I had let my fears and insecurities create a wedge between us, and I was determined to rebuild the trust we had lost. One evening, as we sat outside watching the sunset, I turned to Max and said, "I'm sorry if I ever doubted you." He looked at me surprised. "Doubting me? Why?" "Because I love you," I said, "and I know you would never hurt me." Max took my hand and smiled. "I love you too, Anna. I would never do anything to hurt you." From that moment on, I felt a sense of peace I hadn't felt in months. Lisa was just a small part of our story, but Max and I were building something much bigger, a life together based on trust, love, and mutual respect. A few months later, John and Lisa moved away. John had been offered a new job in the city, and they decided to start fresh. After they left, life in the village became peaceful again. Max and I started talking more seriously about starting a family, and we looked forward to the future with hope and excitement. In the end, I learned that trust and communication are the most important things in a relationship. No matter what challenges come our way, I know Max and I can get through them together.